Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel as we look ahead to Hibernian versus Celtic tomorrow. We'll be hearing from me, Hamish. We'll also have David, and we'll also have the Celtic captain, Callum McGregor, interspersed in this video. He was speaking to Celtic fan media earlier today. However, we do have to start with the really sad news from earlier today of the passing of former Rangers, Scotland and Everton manager Walter Smith at the age of 73. Really not that old nowadays. It's kind of very easy, I think, to fall into a world of cliches when you're describing someone after their passing. But all we can really do is pass on our condolences, from everyone at 67 Hail Hail to his family and to, people that knew him well. A guy, David, that I think, was always respected by Celtic fans, even though he was a direct rival to us for large parts of his life.
Yeah, and for good reason. I never met him personally, never had the fortune to meet him, but he never appeared to hate Celtic. There was the rivalry, there was a rivalry factor, but I think he always appeared to have respect for Celtic traditions, Celtic's achievements, and you could see some of the campaigns he's done in the past, and how well regarded he is by a lot of Celtic greats. Very, very sad news for Scottish football, gave me a lot of pain growing up, during the Strachan days. It's a sad day of Scottish football, and like you, I can only send my condolences. My prayers go out to his friends, his family, and of course the Rangers supporters will be feeling it heavy today.
Yeah, I think the thing that a lot of people have picked up on, most notably Celtic themselves, is the relationship he had with, one of our greats, Tommy Burns, and the way he befriended Tommy Burns, and also the way he carried himself following the really tragic death of Tommy Burns as well. What, about 13 or 14 years ago? I think that was really, a measure of the man. So as I reiterate, just, our condolences from everyone at 67 Hail Hail. We do have a game to talk about tomorrow night, David, and it's a pretty big game. It's Hibernian versus Celtic, a place, Easter Road, that we've really struggled to win at for not just a couple of years, but several years. We actually haven't won there, I think, since January 2014.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
a 4-0 victory. Virgil van Dijk scored that day, which kind of shows how long ago. Terry Butcher was the manager of Hibernian. They are fifth in the table at the moment. They've had 4 wins, 3 draws and 3 losses. However, those 3 losses have come in their last 3 games to Rangers, Dundee United and Aberdeen. They've scored 14 goals in the league so far and conceded 12. What's your immediate thoughts going into this game?
Well, I'm shaking my head a bit there. You can chuck the rule book, you can chuck the form book out the window, Hamish, when it comes to Easter Road. We've definitely been here before, playing Hibs when they're under a poor patch. I'm sure they had one under Paul Heckingbottom. That's the one that springs to my mind at the start of the 2019-20 season, I want to say. And they gave us a shock. We drew 1 each, could easily have lost the game. We did play well on the day. And it's not the only time we've played well at Easter Road recently in the last 7 years and come away with, at best, a point. I love the fixture, though. I don't know about you. This is one of those ones. One of the few in the sea. There's only a few stadiums that give me this sort of feeling the build up to the game. Ibrox, which is a special game. Tynecastle, Pittodrie to an extent, in Easter Road. You come away with anyone here, Hamish, and you come away thinking, what a result. That was so important. Obviously, we've not had that feeling in a while, have we? So it's got extra significance tomorrow, and I really can't wait. Under the lights, there's going to be a great crowd there. The Hibs fans always turn out well when they play Celtic, and it's one of those grounds that holds a special atmosphere in night games as well. So here's hoping we can silence it and put our own mark in the game and finally get 3 points there.
They always seem to up their game when they face Celtic at Easter Road. It's always, a real tough... I think it's a tough game all round because Celtic have to create opportunities, but also they have to defend so well. And, I think it's going to be a huge night tomorrow for that defence. They're clearly improving with every passing game. But I think... obviously, I'm not going to say it's the biggest test they've faced because we've played, Leverkusen, who are a far better team than Hibs, obviously. But I think it is a huge test tomorrow, going up against players like...
Massive.
Joe Newell, who I think's a cracking player, really easy in the eye. Martin Boyle, who's quick. Kevin Nisbet, who we know is quick and can finish as well. So it's a huge night. Do you feel like these defenders, the likes of Starfelt and CCV, are going to step up to the challenge tomorrow night?
Oh, why not? They've been improving. They've been improving over the last few weeks, especially Carl Starfelt. A word for him, Hamish, because he's been really impressive, I think, over the last 2 or 3 games. And I think when he makes the odd error, the odd slack pass, he still gets pounced on pretty unfairly in my view. So word for him. I hope they will. I think they will. But they're up against it. It's a good Hibs attack. And like you say, they always seem to turn it on. They always seem to just... Those 5-yard passes that they struggle to play against Dundee United and Aberdeen over the last couple of weeks, they'll make them tomorrow night, and they'll start looking a lot tidier on the ball, because that's just what they do against us at Easter Road. They're really up for it. They love this fixture. And I think they're a good team to watch against us, Hamish. They're one of the few that will open up. They play a high line. They try to put our centre-backs under pressure every time we go there. The Hibs fans can't stand when they don't do that. They've got so much pace in the forward areas, so it's going to be a big test. And it's one of those places, as I say, one of the few in Scottish football, if you come away with the 3 points, you're thinking to yourself, brilliant. That puts instant pressure on the teams above us, because they've got to go there and do the exact same. And nobody likes going to Easter Road needing a win, Hamish. So I'm looking forward to it. Hibs will come out and it'll be an attractive watch.
I think you raise a really good point there as well, is that we will have space to play into tomorrow night. They will come out and try and press us. I have absolutely no doubt that if we're passing the ball out of the back, they won't stand off us. They'll be coming and pressing us. So it's going to be again a big test for those defenders, not in terms of defending, but in terms of, do they have the confidence to play through the press? It's all right doing it at home to, a Ross County, Dundee, even St Johnstone at the weekend. But when you're in a relatively hostile environment like tomorrow night, I don't think it'll be a sellout, but it's still a tough place to play. Do you have the ability to play out? Because if we do have the ability to beat that initial, 2, 3, 4-man press, we can get the likes of Jota and Kyogo and, maybe Mikey Johnson or Abad or Turnbull running at players, Rogic, we could be on to a winner.
Well, funny you say that, because I was going to bring that up. We're talking about the defence and the pressure that goes in the defence. A lot of the times when we've gone to Easter Road, the defence hasn't been the problem. We've managed to break through their press a lot in the past, away from home even. And it's the forward line, it's middle to front, I feel we've struggled personally. There's so often last season, I remember the nothing each game, for example, that so many opportunities where we saw El Yunusi and Turnbull having space to operate in the final third, to be able to charge towards their penalty area. It's the final ball for me so often that's let us down at Easter Road, not the back line. So it'll be an interesting test of the forward players. Can you go here and do some damage where we haven't been able to in the last 7 years in the league? And I think we will. I think we've got the players to do it. I think we have a right to feel as confident as we ever have been over the last 7 years in the league at Easter Road, because we have the players that should be going there and winning this game. We saw at Livingston, you can't really, you can't predict anything in this league, but fingers crossed, Hamish. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be entertaining, and hopefully it brings out the best in the attackers as well as the defenders. Yeah,
as you say, the final ball's been disappointing in this fixture, especially Easter Road. Also, the final decision-making. So often last year, I have visions of Ryan Christie, and this isn't a Ryan Christie witch hunt.
Christie too.
Him hitting, 30, 35-yard shots when he had better options on. So I just really hope that this renewed belief and quality in this Celtic team that we've seen since the start of the end of the international break, I hope we continue to see that tomorrow. It'd be amazing to come away with a professional result. Let's have a wee look at the last 5 then at Easter Road. If we go back, the most recent visit there you just alluded to was middle of May 2021. So this year, that was Scott Brown's final game. I'm surprised you remember anything about that, because I've completely erased that from my memory. That was the most forgettable match ever. Prior to that, November of 2020, so just about a year ago, Hibs 2, Celtic 2, that was a far more eventful game. Shocker?
That was a shocker for me. I thought it was a really poor result considering the circumstances. When you go back to Easter Road disappointments, that 2-2 draw for me is one of the biggest ones.
It was a weird one though, because we were 2-0 down and we fought back to get a result, and you should really have been looking at it going a bit of fight back, but you just felt so deflated.
We fought back to secure a poor result, in my opinion, considering where we were in the league. It was still a poor result and it was a bad performance. Hibs deserved the win that day, in my view.
Going back previously, there's a wee theme developing here. Hibs won, Celtic won the game again you spoke about, September 2019. Really good game. I remember that one especially. End to end, Ryan Christie scoring our goal there with a header. April 2019, Hibs 0, Celtic 0. Again, it was a kind of end of season match. We were just closing in on the title at that stage. I think Neil Lennon had just come in, and he'd certainly just come in the game previous to that. March 2019, Hibs 0, Celtic 2. So a win. That was Neil Lennon's second game back as boss. That was, of course, in the Scottish Cup. So we have managed a win in the last 5, but the last 4 have been draws. And as we say, going back further than that, I think there was a 2-1 defeat. I think there was a 2-0 defeat. There was certainly another couple of draws. So it's not been an easy place to go. I remember a 2-2 game under Brendan Rodgers when the Invincible season, and we had the most incredible end to that match where Lustig cleared one off his own line like in the 93rd minute, and we went up the park and Scott Sinclair missed a sitter. He put it over the bar. That was amazing. It just kind of summed up these matches. A guy who I assume played that day and will be playing tomorrow is Callum McGregor. He's got plenty of experience of playing at Easter Road, and he spoke to Celtic fan media earlier today. Now, there were loads of questions, as is often the case, always the case, on different topics, so I thought we could kind of split it up. So the first chunk is mainly on current issues. It includes my question right at the start, which you'll see, and yeah, let's go for it. Hi Callum. It feels like something special is building here with this Celtic team, and when it clicks it's going to be spectacular. Is that the way you feel about it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've said it, even, you know, there is going to be bumps in the road along the way, and even when we've had the little bumps so far, I still see so much potential in this team. I see the boys working every day. I see what the manager's trying to do, and you know, I can sense a real togetherness. I think the Aberdeen away victory as well, you know, I think that really helped us in terms of a mentality setting of, you know, going away from home, so many young players for different cultures all coming together, you know, on that day, and I think that was a real big step for us. And I think since then I can sort of sense a mentality change where, you know, the boys are, you know, they're really going to motor now, I think.
Callum, how important was it for you personally to get this new contract over the line and concentrate now on captaining our great club?
Yeah, listen, it was a very quick sort of process. Me and the club started speaking in the summer. You know, I was desperate to get it done, get it sorted, and like you said, just focus solely on the football side of things and leading the club. So, you know, I was so happy to get it done very quickly, and like I said, now it's onto the business of making sure everyone's performing, making sure I'm performing, and like you said, leading this great club to success.
Celtic fans have really got behind the new manager. It looks like the players have as well, yourself included. I wanted to ask, like, what's been the biggest change that you've implemented since you've arrived? Since he's arrived even.
Yeah. I think with new managers, you always get a freshness. You always get a kind of bounce. Everyone's, you know, desperate to do well. They're desperate to impress him. What he has come in and done is given us a sort of clear identity in terms of the way we want to play. He's got the thing about the fullbacks coming in, the wingers staying high, stretching the game. So there's a real sort of structure there within the game, and you know, he's trying to teach the boys to stick to the system and trust the principles within that to get us the result, rather than, you know, at the weekend there it can get a little bit edgy in terms of you haven't scored yet. People start getting frustrated and moving all over the pitch, but then it actually becomes a bit counterproductive because the structure will get you the chances, and that'll get you the success that you need. So what he's done in that sense is he's made it really clear what he wants for each position, each individual, and then he's just brought us together, you know, with so many different cultures and personalities and nationalities. He's managed to gel the group together really quickly.
Just over 12 months ago, you described this team as disjointed. You said we've got half the team trying to score, but we've got 2 for 2 at the back, and you can't do it at this level. You get picked off. It's embarrassing. How far has the team come since those comments 12 months ago?
Yeah, I think there's been a big change. Big change in sort of mentality as well. I just spoke about it there with the manager. He's come in, he's made it really clear in terms of the structure that he wants to implement. like you touched on there, everything that you do at this level has to be joined up. You can't have half the team pressing, half not pressing or whatever. Everything you do, it has to be clear. Either the team's pressing or you're recovering into your shape and then you press on the next one. So like I said, it's one that's new players. We've had a big turnover of players as well, which ultimately makes the team feel different anyway. But I think the manager's been really clear in what he's looking for, what he's asking for of each player in every position. So when you get everybody buying into that and understanding the structure and how it operates, then I think that's where you're probably seeing now the team's functioning properly.
Just on the team that started on Saturday, it was mainly made up of new players that have come in. And we were discussing after the game how surprised we were with how quick the new players have gelled in. We would have thought we would have needed to get maybe to January to the next transfer window, but the team now seems to be playing as a unit. Are you surprised at how quick some of the boys have settled in?
Having seen them every day, then no, but I know what you're saying in terms of, guys coming into a different country, trying to settle in, trying to find their form, which I have been, hugely impressed at in terms of the guys coming in, settling into a new country. But like I said, when I see them train every day, I see the quality, I see the intensity of the work, and I see the togetherness in the group already. There's such a good bond, when you work with good people, good personalities, then it seems to make that transition a little bit easier as well. So, I get what you're saying in that sense, but having worked with them every day, then, I'm not too surprised at just how well some of them are doing.
My question was around versatility. So you best described as that player that is, at least an 8 out of 10 every single week, not necessarily man of the match, but never lets us down. And we've seen you last year almost playing in goals. You were having to go that far back to help out and dig deep when we were in the trenches. Just really curious as to what is your favourite position? If you were the manager, where would you play yourself?
It's a difficult question now. I've like you said, I've played in so many positions that I just think anywhere in the midfield. I like being an 8 as well in terms of connecting the game and then going and joining in and and helping out with goals and assists as well. And then the position that I'm sort of playing just now allows me to dictate the game and build the attacks and get it through the thirds. So to be honest, I'd play anywhere for this club, and like you just touched on there, I'd even play in goals. But I just love my football here, and I'm happy to play wherever the manager wants me to play.
The first few matches under Andrew, we saw kind of fast, direct attacking play, and then after the international break, it seemed that it was a bit more controlled and patient in the build-up. Would you agree with that? And is it something you kind of worked on specifically? Yeah,
it's probably a little bit of two things in terms of one, we probably wanted more control in the games. Previous to that, it was a little bit, we attack, you attack, and it became a little bit stretched the game. So that's something that we have been looking at in terms of trying to control the game more, control the ball, build up the pitch, and then we sort of get set for our attack. And if it breaks down, then everyone's together to go and press the ball and win the ball back. And what that does is it brings teams, further back the pitch, which then kills the counter attack. So, and I think, just in terms of how well we've been playing, I think now teams are probably sitting a little bit deeper as well. So there's probably a connection with the two things there, I would say.
So that was Callum McGregor. We'll hear the rest of that press conference at the end of this video. David, I just wanted to pick up on the question I asked and his answer there, when he's talking about how big he feels that win at Aberdeen could have been. And he, I think his quote was that he thinks Celtic are ready to motor now. Obviously encouraging to hear that from the captain.
Yeah, I would say so. And he's right. It felt big at the time. But it only felt big with the sort of caveat that we continued to win after it. We continued to back up with impressive results. They've managed to do that, but it just never stops, does it? If we don't get an impressive result tomorrow night, we're not looking at Aberdeen saying that's a turning point in the season. We're going, that was another decent wee run of form before another blip. It just never stops, Hamish. That's the pressure that's on Celtic. And it will forever be on Celtic players, this season especially, with what's at stake in the league. I think they're playing with a bit more confidence. There's still areas to our game I think we can improve on. I think we're still starting a wee bit slow for me. I don't know if you've noticed this in the last few games. There's maybe about 20 minutes to half an hour it takes, or it seems in my opinion, for us to get really into the face of the opposition, really start clicking. better teams will punish that. And you don't really want to go Easter Road and start like that for me, because Hibs are fast starters against Celtic, have been for the last 7 years in particular. So that'll be another key indication of how much the team's progressing. And we'll see whether we can start tomorrow night a wee bit better. I think we have to if we're going to get a good result.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think our performances in second halves, and certainly the end of second halves recently, have been, far superior to how we've started games. But it was interesting that final question that we just heard there from Callum McGregor when he was asked. I think it was a cynic that asked the question with regards to, do we feel there's been a change in what Celtic have tried to do, recently, I think since the international break. And he spoke about the fact that the team and Ange wanted the team to be more in control at the start of these games. And it's something I alluded to on Sunday night, that I felt that at the start of the season we were coming out really quick and almost fading as games went on. And I feel that now Celtic are being more in control. And also the point he makes about, the reputation of Ange's Celtic almost doing us a disservice with the fact that opposition teams are probably sitting deeper now than they were at the start of the season. I think Dundee, for example, when they came to Celtic Park, were far more expansive than basically every team that's come there in the league since. So that's something worth bearing in mind. Team wise, I usually go first. So and you usually just copy my homework. so you can go first this time.
Make sure I've done my homework this time. All right then. Probably a pretty familiar lineup for me. I've Hart and goal, of course. I've got the back four of Ralston, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Juranovic. Personally, I'd prefer Juranovic on the right side, but I don't actually think he's going to do that, so I won't pretend that'll be his team.
I think Bollock could get thrown in, no?
Nah, I don't think so. I think, you're looking at the fixture. It's so huge. It's so difficult, historically challenging. I think he'll try and keep it as consistent as he can. I think he'll try and pick his strongest 11. I don't think Bolly features in that just now. So midfield three, again, I'm going to go for McGregor, Rogic and Turnbull. Spoken in the past about not believing that Turnbull and Rogic can play together. I still actually have that view to a large extent. I'm still to be convinced that they can both be extremely effective together. I've not seen a game where they've both played yet and thought both of them were outstanding.
Well, tomorrow's going to be a huge one for that, because you barely get a fixture that's more end to end than Celtic going to Easter Road.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So front three, I think Giakoumakis will drop out. I think he's going to go with his recognisable three of Abada, Kyogo and Jota. I'd be surprised if it's anything different. I wouldn't object if Giakoumakis gets a start, by the way. He scored a goal at the weekend. You could argue he's earned it, but I'd like to see Abada back in the team, because I don't think he needs an extended run out of the side just now.
Okay, I think I've got 10 of the 11 that you said, unless I'm mistaken. Who do you think's the one that I've got and you've not?
I think you've thrown in... I think you've put Giakoumakis in.
No. I've got a funny feeling, based on nothing at all, that Mikey Johnson might start tomorrow. I think he might start Mikey Johnson on the left and put Jota, Abada. You play Jota on the right and Kyogo through the middle. I agree. I don't think Giakoumakis will play. I think he will probably come on if we're... We'll come on in any situation if we're chasing a goal or if we're protecting a lead. But I think Kyogo's pace through the middle is going to be crucial tomorrow. I think Kyogo's going to be our key player. I just got, and as I say, based on absolutely nothing at all, will probably look ridiculous in 30 hours or so, but I just think that he might throw in Mikey Johnson given how good he's looked.
Well, I can understand that, but look at how he's sort of integrated Giakoumakis. It was I think it was about 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, then half an hour before he got his start. I think he'll maybe look to do similar to Mikey. I still think to see Mikey Johnson have a good half hour, have we not? A good half hour.
Would you not rather see Mikey Johnson than Abada, though? Nothing against Abada, but just current form and the way they've looked over the last few weeks.
No, wouldn't he? No, I think I would still go. I would still go with Abada on the right, Joe on the left. We're talking about how Hibs are going to open up, and how Hibs are going to probably push the defence pretty high as well, because they're going to have to. They're not going to leave. I don't think they'll leave big gaps between the back line and the midfield. I think they'll push up high as a team. That pace in behind is going to be crucial. Mikey isn't one for for darting beyond the fullback for me and making up 10, 20 yards and putting a ball into the box. I think he likes to sort of square up his man just outside the penalty area. I think if you're going to really exploit Hibs, I would rather someone that's just raw running like a badder. When he gets in behind, he charges and he'll immediately put a ball in. I think that's the way he'll go. You could be right though. He might throw a curveball in. He's done it in the past, but I just think style-wise in the attacking third, I would probably rather see a bad on the right, Jota on the left, and see how that goes. That's dependent on Hibs' approach.
Yeah, I'm going to have no complaints if Abada's starting. I'm not going to be groaning or anything like that. I think Abada has been a great signing for us so far, and I think he's just going through a wee rough patch. But for me, in terms of tomorrow, just Mikey Johnson, how good he's looked. I take the point that it's been in, short kind of displays in terms of, he's only been on the park for 10, 15 minutes at a time. But I think he just looks electric and so fit, and I'd love to see him start. But if he's on the bench, he's a great sub to have coming off the bench.
The big positive is its options. I don't think we've even had
and
options.
Giakoumakis, he's another option as well.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll ever go with two up top, now that he's got two actually good strikers available. I wonder if he'll ever do that, but it'll not happen tomorrow anyway.
Right, final thoughts then before we hear more from Callum McGregor. I'm just really looking forward to this game.
It's just I can only really reiterate what I said at the start. It's such an entertaining fixture. Two teams that are going to go at each other, and Hibs are an entertaining team as well. Hamish, they'll very rarely pick the ball up at the back and go long to Boyle, for example. They'll look to try and play it to him. I think Celtic have the quality. Of course, they have the quality. We've had the quality over the last 7 years. It's whether they have the mentality and whether they have that cutting edge on the night. Different personnel this year, really, going to Easter Road. So it's effectively a different group. And I think they're going to do it. I'm going to go for it. I think they've got the momentum just now. They're still looking, in my view, for a big win. Aberdeen was great, but I think one at Easter Road would be even more impressive regardless 100%. Of their form. So I still think they're in need of that big moment where you think title contenders. I think that's going to happen tomorrow.
So, can I get two numbers from you?
I was going to say something outrageous, but I'll just go for 2-0. 2-0 to the boys, I think.
What were you going to say outrageous?
I was going to say about 4-0, but I was just getting carried away from. I'll go 2-0. I think we'll show a relatively decent sort of level of control in the game, and I think we'll take a couple of chances, and I think the defence will stand up to it as well. So 2-0 for me.
Yeah, 2-goal margin for me. I think we'll win 3-1 tomorrow. I just think I feel the exact same way that this might be the time for this team to, as you say, really stand up at a tough away game and not just win like they did at Aberdeen, and to an extent Motherwell as well, but win with real style, like a top level performance. And when you look at the fixtures we've got coming up after this domestically, it's a lot of winnable matches.
Yeah,
I think we've got Livingston coming up, Dundee coming up, and even after the international break, there's some forgiven matches, let's just say. So it's a real good opportunity for Celtic to put down a marker in terms of our title challenge, and hopefully tomorrow is the day. David, thanks so much for joining me, mate. We're going to pass on to Callum McGregor now, just for the final part of his fan media press conference. I thought it was really good earlier. Questions, as I say, from all different people in all different categories. This kind of chunk is more to do with maybe one slightly away from current issues, so a bit on his time at Notts County, a bit on the Ferencváros crowd, a bit on his favourite goal and match for Celtic, and a bit on Anton McElhone at the end as well. So have a listen to this. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done it yet, as we go for 21,000 subs, and we will speak to you after the game tomorrow.
Callum, one of the main tactical talking points since Ange came in has been the use of inverted fullbacks. Since you're usually the most central in midfield, how's your role on the pitch been affected by having one or more maybe fullbacks so much closer to you in the build-up play and when teams are trying to counter?
Yeah, it's like you said, obviously it's been a thing that the gaffers tried to implement here. I think it's worked, reasonably well. We're getting better at it all the time, and you can start to see, one coming in, maybe one staying out giving us a little bit of width. So, all it does is just slide you across a little bit and sort of gives you the two controlling players to build up and try and outnumber the opposition. So, it's just important that whatever fullback comes in, you then just balance off on the side, and then it's about quick combinations, trying to break through the press. And then obviously on transition with the team, they turn over the ball, then, it's just important that first and foremost we, control the middle of the pitch, force them wide, and then everyone recovers back central and we defend from there. So that's pretty much in a nutshell as well as I can explain it for you.
Obviously, you started out your Celtic career kind of in a strange path by going on loan down to Notts County. What did you learn from that experience that you were able to bring back into your Celtic days? And did you ever think at any point during that spell that down the line you'd be the captain of Celtic, you'd have a new 5-year deal, and you'd be the one passing that experience on to the guys that's out on loan at the moment?
Yeah, obviously when you take it right back to going out on loan, I just kind of look at the squad at the time was really strong, especially in sort of central midfield. The club were in Champions League, so some real good players ahead of you at that point. And I think for the club, sort of moving forward in terms of using the loan system, I think we can always use it, in a positive way. I think previous to that, it was more about you couldn't get in the team, so then you went on loan, and it was almost that was just time done. But for me, I just tried to, make it my ambition to come back and learn, from playing man's football, for understanding that, when you pull that jersey on a Saturday, you're playing for the cause, you're playing for people's livelihoods. And I think that was the biggest thing that, that kind of sat with me when I was down there. There was boys who needed a win bonus to pay their mortgages, and it became a real fight at times as well. So, coming from a sort of glamour setting at Celtic where it was Champions League, everything was laid on for you, to then go to the other end of the spectrum in football in terms of survival, then, really opened my eyes and gave me that sort of determination to really push through it, learn and come back. And then, like you said, now to be on the other side of that, trying to pass on my experience as much as I can to the younger players and especially guys that are, maybe going out on loan. It's not the end of the journey for you by any means. It's a test of your character to see if you can come back and handle it.
Can I ask you, what is the most memorable goal you've scored and the most memorable match you've played in for Celtic?
I've been quite fortunate that I've scored some good ones. I think my first Rangers goal in the semi-final in the Cup, I think that'll probably be my most special goal and moment for Celtic, to score against your biggest rivals. Then it doesn't come any better than that. And that was at a time where I was just emerging into the team, starting to play more regularly, and I think it was a big goal in terms of my career at that point. So that one probably means the most to me. And obviously just memorable ones, I kind of always go back to the cup final, the double treble one where I scored in the cup final against Motherwell. Just overall for myself, it was a great day, and obviously to score in the cup final and then to make that history with the double treble was incredible as well. So that's probably the one that maybe sticks out as well.
You've been here for such a long time. You know how big a part the fans can play in helping the team get that extra yard. How important was it for the players, and especially the new ones, to have that such a big turnout on the Tuesday afternoon game?
Yeah, listen, that was it was unbelievable effort for the fans. Like you said there, a difficult kick-off time, and to be honest, I don't, now that I've been at the club for so long, I don't expect anything else. This club is, the way it's supported is something special. It's like no other club that around world football, and for the new players to see just how much it means to the fans. I just said that to the players, that the fans have done their job, they've turned up, so now it's our job to deliver the 3 points, and it made for a brilliant afternoon.
Hi Callum, it's evident obviously over the seasons you've played for us, especially when it was yourself and Mika Lustig, that you've done a lot of talking for the likes of Scott Brown whilst on the park. Good leadership from the three of you. Now that role's your own, how are you finding that? Are you growing into it in the sense that you've taken a lot from Brown, but are you enjoying the role as captain? Yeah, it's a role that I'm enjoying very much. It's always evolving and developing every single day. There's good results, there's bad results. It's learning to stay calm and trust the process that the manager's got in place as well. So
you know, I kind of spoke about this earlier on in the season where, you know, it might take a little bit of time and it's about trying to stay calm through that transition, but, you know, also letting the players understand that, you know, there's a standard here that we can't drop below as well. So, you know, there's, in terms of building things, there is always a little bit of that transitional period, but, you know, having been here for so long, you got to set the right standards, and I think the boys have been superb so far, and in terms of trying to take in as much information. And, you know, I'm always trying to drip feed things about the club and the way it's supported and the way that we should be acting every single day and the behaviours that we should have. So, you know, the boys have been absolutely first class at that so far.
Hi Callum, congrats on the new deal. Just how big a boost do you think it's been to get Anton McElhone in as head of sports science now? I mean, after going without one since June, do you think it's helped boost the squad's fitness levels and also in terms of helping players come back from injury?
Yeah, you know, it was a position that, like you said, we were looking for, you know, throughout the summer, in terms of trying to recruit the best type of people that we can get in the building with good knowledge. And, you know, Anton's certainly got that in terms of being at Spurs, you know, worked in America as well, and, you know, he's come in, he's a great personality, and, you know, he's just helping the good work that's been done as well. You know, there's a lot of good guys in the building that are, you know, desperate to do well and get the boys fit and hungry onto the pitch, and Anton certainly came in and helped on top of that as well with the ideas that he's brought for Tottenham in America as well.